Thanks for having me here this morning. As John mentioned, my name is Jared May. I own May Bookkeeping Solutions. I live here in Thief River Falls. My wife, Crystal, she's at the back table there. She does reflexology. I have a daughter who's 20, Olivia. She works at the Sanford Pediatric Clinic as an LPN in Fargo. So she enjoys doing that. My son, Alex, he's 16. He's homeschooled for about the last 3 years. He actually graduated last week, so a year early, so he's excited about that. He's really into culinary arts, things like that, so that's kind of his direction he likes. I was born and raised in a real small town called Bluffton, Minnesota, which is about 4 miles from Wadena, about 200 people. So went to Wadena school. I guess as a lot of kids going into high school, I didn't really know much about what I wanted to do at that point for a career. In 10th grade, I took an elective for an accounting class, and I took that class, and it was like love at first sight for accounting. It was like ledgers, balancing. It was like finally I found a use for math, and I just liked it. So my junior and senior year, I actually did post-secondary over at the technical college, which was right across the street. And so in my junior and senior year, I took an accounting course over there, and graduated from high school and tech school with an accounting diploma. So those worked out really well for me, having the college right there. That was in '95. I moved up to Thief River after that. No real reason other than I had a buddy that moved up here and just came up here. I didn't have any real plans after high school, so I just roomed with him. And eventually, about 2000, I ended up working for Northern Woodwork. And so I've been there, it would have been 21 years this summer if I had stayed on. Just kind of helped out with the accounting there at first, and then in 2003 I took over the accounting department, and that was a real good experience for me, just business-wise and accounting-wise. You get to do every facet of the accounting in a small business. The accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll, putting together financial statements. So that was a really good learning experience for me, just being able to work there. Great company to work for, good bosses, so it was just a real nice experience. And are you laughing, Angie, about that?
You probably said that because I'm sitting.
Right. Her brother's one of the owners there, so. And I asked her for some dirt on him, but she really wasn't that forthcoming with it, so kind of disappointed. But so anyways, a couple years ago, we started thinking a little more about flexibility in schedule, being able to travel or eventually maybe move somewhere else, or things like that. My job at Northern Woodwork, loved working there, but it was a 45-hour-a-week job, and just by nature of it, it was not very flexible. But I really had no idea what to do. I didn't ever think about starting a business. Just never came across my mind to do that. My wife went to she took our kids to an event, and she was talking to another parent there, and she met someone that did virtual bookkeeping, and she was pretty excited about it. She came and told me about that, and I had no idea what that was or how to go about it, but she did put me in touch with her. I spoke to her about that. She gave me some insights on how she did it, kind of a program that she went through that kind of gave her all the tools she needed. Well, eventually I took that program, and really helped me to see all the tools, technology I needed to be able to do this kind of business in that way. Working at Northern Woodwork, you have one system you're working with, for so many years that you don't really keep up with some of the, technology of other systems that general people might be using. So it definitely was a good learning experience, just kind of getting caught up on what's out there being used. So I went through that program. November 2019, I started my business officially. I wasn't ready to quit NWI yet. I needed some clients, so my first client was easy. My wife, she does reflexology, so that was a good first client to get right away. Shortly after I'd started, I had attended a chamber mixer, and that was really beneficial because right there I made some connections that really helped me to kind of get my business off the ground, get going. Connections that really still benefit me today. So that was really great. January 2020, I got my second, third client. February, added another client. So at that point, it was like, okay, I'm working a 45-hour-a-week job. I've got these bookkeeping clients. But then COVID hit, and so that I was kind of worried. I was, first of all, I couldn't do much networking anymore. My clients that had just hired me, I don't have any really kind of history with them. Are they gonna keep me? I mean, that's kind of an expense for them. So a little worried about that. Thought possibly, this timing is not right on this. I might have to, maybe it's not working out well. But I just tried to think of like, well, what would help my clients? So I just gave a lot of thought to, the government was coming out with all sorts of, different funding programs, things like that. So I just tried to my best to keep up on all that info. It was coming out pretty fast and furious, but tried to keep up with that. Tried to keep my clients informed of those things, and if they wanted to try to benefit from those, they could do whatever helped them, filling out an application, things like that. That really, I think they really appreciated that. I was touching base with them, weekly, basically. Just, is there anything I can do? So I think just cultivating that relationship during that time really helped solidify my clients at that point in time, because it could have gone the other way, I think. So I think that was key for me to kind of just take that little path at that point in time. So time kind of, we kind of moved through those first stages of COVID. We got to about May of 2020. I still hadn't told Northern Woodwork. They knew I had my business on the side, but I hadn't told them, hey, I'm quitting or anything. So I did that in May of 2020. I gave them basically a 1-year notice, and which they appreciated. And but I still didn't know. My plan, my hope was to have them as a client as well, but I didn't know if they would go for that or not. So either way, I was just going to tell them, and but they're ready to keep working with me. So that worked out really well. That was kind of the final piece of the puzzle for being able to go out on my own. So over the course of this past year, I've gained several more clients. I think in total I've worked with 15. Some of them were kind of like one-time projects, but yeah, I think I've got 12 recurring clients right now. Pretty busy. April 30th was my last day at Northern Woodwork officially, this past April 30th. So that helps a lot with my time, being able to kind of be flexible and managing these clients. So that's been really nice. Just in general, being an entrepreneur, really out of my comfort zone. I never thought about owning a business. I don't really think of myself as an entrepreneur even. But yeah, just experiencing it just for the last month or so, just the flexibility. It's like I didn't have to take vacation time to, come to this event. So I could just go. So it's been really nice. The part about business that really scared me was marketing, because really, like with my business, the only thing to market really is myself. It's like, and maybe how I do my bookkeeping, but that's just not what I want to do. I don't want to go market myself, things like that. Doing in-person networking, not something I wanted to do. But I knew it had to be done in order to get my business off the ground. I just had to do it. So there's a book that's called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I don't know, that saying kind of rings a bell, because it's like you just jump in, just do it. So I thought I would have to expand beyond Thief River for like my client base. I do have one out-of-state client, but everyone is really in the Thief River Falls area. So really, which surprised me. I didn't know that there was a need as much for what I did. It was just kind of surprised me. There probably could be 10 people doing what I do and have enough, they would all have their own clientele base, I think, even in just a town like this. So definitely I found there was a need. A couple of lessons that I've learned over the last couple of years. The first lesson was just relationships in general, just building relationships with whether it's referral partners or with your clients, just so beneficial. Just everyone I've met on this journey, everyone I meet is an entrepreneur. All my clients are entrepreneurs. So it's an opportunity for me to learn from them, their business, how they go about things. I oftentimes ask advice of them, and they give it to me. So because I know the bookkeeping part, but business part, being an entrepreneur, I'm not very experienced at that part. So I really appreciate just everyone I've met and learning from them. And really, that one all went back kind of to networking, just cultivating those relationships really has benefited me personally and business-wise. The other lesson I've learned is social media is just really powerful. I didn't have Facebook until probably a year and a half ago. Just didn't want it. I never downloaded it. But it's really key. I have zero desire to market that way. So I met Kelsey. She helps me out with that. If you ever see any posts from May Bookkeeping Solutions, those I did not develop those posts. That's so if you can find somebody that does it well, that's super important. But I often, when someone reaches out to me, I ask how did you find out about me? And a lot of times it's like, well, I just saw your posts over and over again, and I just had to reach out. So maybe the first time doesn't get them, but that consistency does. So and they'll start remembering you. So just wrap it up. If I can start a business, anybody can. Just got to take action. There's many unknowns, but there were so many good things around the corner that I had no idea that were waiting there for me. So by doing it, I was able to experience a lot of those things that I wouldn't have if I hadn't taken that plunge. So that's all I got.
Well, great, Jared. That's just fantastic. I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you plan on building your networking, and do you plan on hiring anybody, or what's your long-term goals?
That's a good question. I'm kind of at borderline right now where if I start taking on more clients, I'll probably have to hire somebody at some level, someone probably that could do a certain task over all the clients probably. I'm not quite there yet, but I want to be prepared for that. So I'm really trying to come up with my processes and how I could onboard somebody. I don't want to be like in a panic trying to onboard somebody. I want to be prepared for it. So I'm actually doing that right now, just kind of getting things in order so that someone could just, here you go, so I've been thinking a lot about that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Jared?
Just a comment, as a banker, I know that I've referred many to you. It's really nice to have somebody come with financials that are good, and a lot of the entrepreneurs are passionate, but not about that. Like, that's not what they want to do.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Just having you work with them has really helped some of my customers too. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No.
I don't actually have a question because I probably asked them of you already, but one of my biggest things is called Track Two Rivers Entrepreneur Connection, and one of my favorite phrases is, people don't care what you know until they know how much you care, and I think that embodies you to a point with knowing you for the last year and a half. You just put the extra effort into knowing people, making sure people know you care about them, whether it's your clients or your family. I mean, everything, listening to you, if anyone noticed, he didn't say, I got into business to make a bunch of money. He got into business to make his life flexible so he could be with his family. And I think that's awesome. So kudos to you on that for sure. As far as questions, I'll shoot you a text if I get one.
Sounds good. Thank you, Drew. Thank you.
And word of mouth is so important. I know
Yep.
we had never met, and somebody had asked me about where can I get some bookkeeping, and I said, well, there's this guy called Jared May. I don't know him.
Yep.
Look him up, you'll find him.
Right.
I've only heard good things about your service, and
I appreciate
whatever
that.
he's been saying, so.
Yeah, no, word of mouth is really key. Just from the clients telling other people, and educating your clients on this is who I'm looking for. What I like about my clients is like all my clients are like great people. So it's just kind of like a lot of people focus on a niche, which makes you really efficient. Let's say as lawyers or whatever. I guess at this point, my niche is like I just want to find a good person to work with. It just makes it fun, and so far I've succeeded at that. So it's just building those relationships and then it spinning off into other good relationships with other clients too. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
A lot of times when people start a business, one of the first people they probably should talk to is an accountant, because of the tax implications of their legal structure and so forth. Would you see yourself providing, consulting or help for people starting up, or is that maybe not something you would want to get into?
I try to an extent. I try, when I give advice, it's like, I'm not a CPA, but this is what I've seen. Ultimately, I say, maybe talk to your tax preparer, I guess, but to an extent, I can see that. I've helped a couple of business startups, and just from knowing, just from being around business for years and years, I kind of knew the path they had to do, how to form their LLC or whatever, So to an extent, I guess, I can see myself doing that. And some of my clients are kind of, they're just kind of like a consultant type role anyways. I got them started. Here's a monthly fee for, I'll help you with any problems or if you need any advice, just it's kind of a consulting relationship anyways. So perhaps, yeah.
And then this is just unrelated, a comment you mentioned when you were getting started, how difficult it was to start the marketing of your business. And I think, when you're starting out, I mean, I went through the same thing. I started my consulting business in 2005, so it's been a while now. I've been doing that, but it's a real struggle, because you grow up and you're taught to be humble, and not to be boastful and proud. And I'm sure we've all been around people that are really braggadocious.
Yeah.
And it's not, it can be offensive, so I think that's kind of a struggle when we start a business. How do we talk about our businesses and what we can do without so I think finding that balance is difficult, but I think if we focus on, I guess for myself, thinking about, as you have, helping people. How can you help people? And helping them to understand how you can do that. Then I think it takes the attention maybe off of you and maybe toward your customer and what you can do for them. So.
Yeah, that's good advice. Appreciate it.
As an entrepreneur, I mean, there's certain things that keep you up at night doing this transition. I mean, was there any major thoughts that you had? Am I making the right decision, or?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe at first, but after I got those first couple of clients, all of a sudden it was like, okay, I can see this happening. So that part didn't really, stress me out. That's a good question. I have a hard time like turning my mind off of work. Like, if I'm working through an issue or a problem, and it's 3 p.m, and then let's say I quit for the day at 5 or whatever. It's like, it's 7, 8. I'm still kind of thinking, how would I? Somehow I got to figure out how to not work 16 hours a day or whatever. So I'm still, I would like to learn how others do that.
Well, that's fantastic. Is there any other questions for Jared?
I just want to say that if you figure that out, let me know.
Okay, I'll do that. All right, sounds good.
That's what keeps you going though, right? Yep. Well, thank you.